Everyone, it's Jimmy and welcome back to the channel, and in this video we're talking about who is the better Gallagher, Liam or Noel.
Noel decides that he can do everything and he fucking can't.
Now these two brothers are never going to agree amongst themselves, so we've got to work it out for them. Who is the better? Now I've broken it down into some categories. Let's start off with the first one, which is voice. So who's got the better voice? I think it's unequivocally Liam Gallagher, isn't it? Liam Gallagher's voice is echoing through the ears of most people who are British. Like, really, especially in the 90s, coming of age in the 90s, all that stuff. Liam Gallagher's voice accompanied that. You've got his booming delivery on stuff like Rock and Roll Star. When people heard Liam's voice blast through those speakers for Rock and Roll Star, that was it. That is one of the best making a statement songs of all time, and Liam's voice is a big reason for that. He just sounds like the coolest guy on earth in that song. Obviously Supersonic, the coolness of that first album and the way he sounds on that first album, he just sounded like on that first album like he'd been doing it for years. He sounded like one of the most accomplished singers on planet Earth, and there was just such a badass edge to his voice. And he eventually developed on that voice when it came to the next album. Like opening up with Hello, he still had that blasting rock style, but there was more dimension coming through to his voice, more emotion, more melancholy, more understanding, and it continued on that album. Cast No Shadow, is a very emotional delivery by Liam, very heartfelt. And also, it goes throughout the career. Go Let It Out is just a stunning Liam Gallagher achievement. Even on Be Here Now, which is viewed as not a great album by many, I quite like it. His voice on it's fantastic. He's just got a unique voice. He was blessed with that voice. And, throughout the career, like Go Let It Out and Lila, he was still blasting out. He was still Hindu Times, he was still known as one of the best voices in rock music. I do agree that his voice can't necessarily reach the emotional depths that Noel Gallagher's can. Noel Gallagher's voice is great in that way. I think Noel's voice has improved incredibly over the years, but we've got to remember that Noel Gallagher gave us Don't Look Back in Anger with that voice. One of the greatest songs of all time, one of the greatest vocals of all time. Would it have been the same if Liam sang it? Well, there is AI versions of it on YouTube. I think this is where Noel takes it. He does outsing Liam on this song. It's one of the most powerful songs ever written, really. So Noel was good at that. Noel was good at every man really getting deep into the soul of a person and understanding, and he's done it all his career. He went on to write some emotional stuff on Standing on the Shoulders of Giants, with Sunday Morning Call, Where Did It All Go Wrong, Little by Little, and Even Chemistry is staggering stuff. But I feel like I give this to Liam because it's not necessarily like Noel. The voice is really good, and it has got really, really good with his recent albums, but he's never going to pack out a stadium with that voice. Whereas Liam's just got more of a projection on the voice. Liam's more of a rock star. Liam's voice is more immediately affecting and grabs you. Whereas Noel's voice slowly seeps in. It's more reserved. Noel knew when he became a solo star, he wasn't going to pack out arenas. It was going to be more of a reserved, but you just really appreciated the emotional resonance of it. Whereas Liam, it was just in your face rock star, which is what he is. But I do think his voice is more memorable than Noel's. I'd rather go and see Liam. And this leads me into performance. I would rather go and see Liam Gallagher, I must say. I think that's another place where Liam comes out on top. I feel like his show is so good. He's just so real. He's just so real. He hasn't changed at all, really. Whether that's a good or bad thing. So if we go for Liam, you know what you're going to get. And you're still going to get. His voice is still holding up. His personality is still there. His projection, the fact that he does the whole show pretty much just standing there, letting his voice do the talking. And he just looks cool. And he's got such good rock songs to blast out there. He really has. Noel, again, it's going to be a more laid-back show. You're going to enjoy it, but you're not going to have that bolt of lightning energy that Liam offers, which he always does. And, Noel can go back to the Oasis catalogue, but he can't. When Liam does it, everyone goes nuts because he completely and utterly, will go through those songs that he made, staggering, melodies in our heads. Noel can't really do that. He only did a few of them. That he wrote them all, but he only did a few of them that really stand tall in our minds and our memory. Next is writing. You're going to give it to Noel Gallagher in a second. He wrote everything that's good that Liam sang.
So I only hope to say the things I wish I said, so I'll sing my soul to things. Never sings it live, ever.
What, then? You always forget it?
I've never heard it before. What was it? Well, you don't have a verse?
There's another verse in it that you just refuse to sing.
Don't refuse, man. Never heard it.
What is it about it? You don't like it?
It's not that I don't like it. I've never heard it. Where then? Occasionally puts the words in front of me, he's obviously fucks it off.
Yeah, he just
I just sing what I read, man.
I do like some of the songs that Liam wrote, obviously. I like Little James, Shoot Me, lots of people hate it. I enjoy it, I like the simplicity of it, because I like how it's just about, you know, I'm singing this song for you and your mum and that's all. Everyone had a go at the lyrics, but that's what the song was. It was supposed to be a sweet little heartfelt song to a specific audience. And I like the Beatles' style and influence on it. And I feel like Liam then went on to write Songbird, which is really fantastic. But overall, you know, we got to talk about Noel because he wrote all of that Oasis stuff. He wrote all of it. And, you know, and when I was thinking about doing this video, I was thinking, am I going to do it just about Oasis or the whole careers? I've got to do it about the whole careers. I'm zeroing in a bit on Oasis, but, you know, Noel wrote everything, and that's incredible. Like the sheer volume, the sheer amount that Noel wrote. I don't know if another rock band has ever done that in the history of music. Like the amount of quality songs he wrote at once. I don't know if that's been done, because obviously all these bands in the past, they wrote staggering stuff, don't get me wrong, but maybe not in the short period of time and the quantity of brilliance that Noel Gallagher did. Unfortunately, most of them were lost on the master plan, obviously, but he just made Oasis a household name with these melodies that basically combined the rock star, you know, chaos of the Sex Pistols with the kind of dreamy, fun pop of the Beatles. That's basically what Oasis is. It's basically Sex Pistols meets the Beatles and a bit of Stone Roses thrown in there. Like, but he just, and Noel Gallagher somehow tapped into every person he grew up with in Manchester, every person of his same social sphere, and even people outside of it. He tapped into their daily lives, and this might be why no one's really achieved the brilliance of Oasis. People do it now and again in individual songs, but Noel repeatedly tapped into everyone's daily life, which is so hard to do, because it's kind of, you have to kind of do it subtly. You can't go out to do it, but Noel, it comes from such a genuine place, and he built a band on that, and he's still doing it to this day. So you've got to give it to Noel, because he's still writing songs that have the same conviction he wrote in Oasis, with this great new album he done, Council Skies. Whereas, you know, and I feel like you've got to respect Noel for developing his voice over his solo career, but also writing quality solo albums. His first solo album is as good as anything Oasis ever did. You've got to respect that. And I feel like he has developed on his voice, but his writing is still top notch, if not one of the best songwriters in the world. Whereas Liam, he struggled a bit with his with BDI, where he was writing everything, which was a very disappointing band. I quite like the first album, but it's still very weak compared to Oasis. I don't really like much else. His solo stuff picked up. As You Were is a great album. I do like Why Me, Why Not. I think Shockwave is great. The River's fantastic. He kept so much spite and rock star. He showed he was still the rock star he always was on these songs, but he was missing Noel's universal appeal. And I feel like Come On You Know, the new album, is a bit all over the place in quality, and he's not hitting it well enough on Come On You Know. Whereas Noel's not really dipped in quality through his studio albums. You know, I even love Who Built the Moon, which everyone dislikes, his experimental album. Liam, you're going to be guaranteed some cracking stuff on his solo albums, but you're not guaranteed definitely a cohesive album. And I feel like Liam needs Noel to write those amazing songs for his voice, and Noel needs Liam to make what he's writing reach a mass audience.
It's how you write it, you know what I mean? I'm not into writing fucking morbid music like the rest of these pricks that are playing here. They all write bollocks, you know what I mean? They're all like fucking, they're all in pain. Well, my fucking ears are in pain, fucking hearing your fucking voice, you twat.
Songs. It's Noel again, isn't it? It's clearly Noel, because I've just talked about, you know, his writing has always been stunning, but, you know, he wrote all those songs that Liam's nailed. I think if you look at solo career, Easy Now is better than anything on Come On You Know. Dead in the Water is better than anything on Come On You Know. You know, Open the Door, See What You Find. It's probably better than anything on Come On You Know. I think Everything's Electric on Come On You Know is great. But that was all that was really great on that album. You know, I feel like Liam just relies on his show being so amazing. He doesn't necessarily have to write fantastic albums because he knows people are going through the show experience. Whereas Noel needs to write those great albums to still be relevant. You know, and you got stuff like, I think Shockwave on Why Me, Why Not, The River are awesome. And I feel like Noel doesn't really try and write rock and roll songs. You know, even Lock All the Doors on Chasing Yesterday doesn't really sound very rocky. Like, it always sounds very laid back rock. So he's not really a rock star. And so that gives Liam an edge in his solo stuff because he's never stopped being a rock star. Songs like The River, songs like Why Me, Why Not, songs like Wall of Glass are first class, kicking down the door rock songs, you know. And I love hearing that. And I do miss that from Noel because there's nothing... With Noel, like, you do end up loving his music, but you don't get that instant electricity that Liam has. But I just think on sheer quantity of fabulous songs, it's Noel Gallagher. Of course, you know, obviously, he's wrote some of the most iconic songs of all time, and he's still writing great stuff. And Liam is kind of struggling songwriting-wise.
No, shame. He's a fucking cunt, and I hate him, and I love him. And he twists my melon, man. He's the best songwriter in the fucking world, and I swear to God, he annoys me, and I hate him.
This is the time they need to come together, guys. They really do. I feel like it's the right time. And I feel like this is how we wrap things up. You know what? I am going to call it a tie because they, you know, this is what made Oasis great. They complemented each other. They need each other. Acquiesce. You know, they need each other. They need to believe in each other because they're the ones that are going to uncover the secrets in their soul. Cheesy. But I feel like Acquiesce tells the whole story of Oasis. And there's other songs on there that tell the whole story of how these two brothers, they do need each other, regardless of what they say. And the time is right. Because you know what? In this list, I've expressed how they fill in each other's flaws. No one's ever going to come fully out on top because you're always going to have... For example, even if you admit that Liam's better live, you could say, well, I'm going to go and see Noel because I fancy a more laid-back show. I fancy hearing his songwriting. Whereas Liam, I'm going to have to sit through some of his bad songs and just wait for the Oasis ones. This is where, you know, they're completely back and forth. They're completely 50-50. If someone put a gun to my head now and went, you can either see Liam or Noel, I'll go for Liam. So maybe that means I'd pick Liam. But dear God, neither of these guys would be anything without each other. And I think Noel has said that in interviews. He's admitted that. So why not just play together again? You guys are in your 50s. Why not put this away? And I personally feel like something more happened than we don't know. I know there's the story that Liam apparently threw a guitar at Noel, which is not cool, Liam, at all. Trying to kill your brother. I feel like something else happened. I feel like they were arguing for years because it's the sheer level of the refusal for any of these two to back down. You know, Noel says, "Give me a call." Liam's been saying for years he wants Noel back, and you know he's not the one holding things up. Noel says, "Give him a call." Liam refuses to do it, but then at the same time, I guess Liam thinks Noel's arrogantly sat there like he owns the keys to the castle. They've got to get someone between them, and no one is trying to come between them. Like Noel's even said that none of Liam's people ever try and call him. So why is no one trying to get between these two to bring them together? That's the only way, I think. Someone's in the middle who brings them together. But it feels like Liam and Noel, like deep down, they don't want to do it. And that's a real shame, because I feel like if they did want to do it, they could come closer together much easier. I don't feel like they want to do it. It's such a shame, because this video, you know, I've come to the conclusion, they really do complement each other, and there is no winner, even though there's some stark differences and advantages, you know, to each Gallagher. Who do you think is the better Gallagher brother, or do you agree with me there is a tie? They are equal, pretty much. Click on some other Oasis videos on the screen now. Subscribe to this channel. A lot of people who watch the channel watch the videos and don't subscribe. What are you thinking? What are you doing with your lives? I do loads of this sort of videos. Do it. Watch all the other stuff. Subscribe. No, only subscribe if you want. But yeah, there are lots of people who watch and don't subscribe. If you like me, subscribe. But thanks for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time for another video, as you were.